Hello. Right, so today I am at my local gym, Vol.1, one of my favourite places, one of my favourite gyms. So I'm going to try and climb repeats of climbs which I've done as of like the last month, and then see if I can repeat them and tell you what's good, what the crux is, what my favourite move is. But I will not have a microphone on because I don't do well with social anxiety with people around and talking. So it's easy for me just to voice over, which I hate doing as well. So all the climbs that I will be doing will be from 6C plus to 7A plus maybe, if I can repeat them, we'll see. Also, I've only got 1 hour to film and climb. So we'll see what I can do in an hour. Over to voiceover mode.
The first climb I'm going to be trying is this blue climb. Okay, it's pretty simple, literally goes straight up the middle. However, it does include my least favourite hold in the whole centre, the car bonnet. That crimp rail hold is really nice. Okay, so probably the crux, I would say, is probably the last move. However, for me, I'm quite dynamic, so it felt quite easy. Alright, so please be nice to me, as this was my warm-up climb. The setters graded it as 6C+. Probably in my opinion it was a bit soft, but it suits my style, so I guess I find things like this easier. But I guess the whole of climbing is subjective, so I might find something easier, I might find something harder at the same grade. I had a bit of trouble finding the feet, and I just decided yeet all the way up for the finish. And can George produce a smile for the camera? No. Okay, so sticking on the dynamic theme, we have this purple, if you can make out the holds. So it starts with 2 really nice jugs for hands and 2 nice holds for your feet. So the crux and my favourite move are the same move. So it starts on the nice 2 jugs with a massive dynamic coordination, a push and catch move. So the setters gave this a 7A, which I think is fair enough. It's an absolutely massive jump and leap. Once you're up there, you get onto a really small crimp and another dynamic finish. Can Mr. Serious produce a smile on his second attempt? No. Okay, so now on to something very crimpy. Ugh, I hate crimps. So the start move is the hardest move and is definitely the crux. Well, it is for me. It involves initial pop-up and catch on this 5mm crimp. I couldn't even catch it while trying to film a B-roll shot of it. And it also has these tiny little footholds, but we'll come back to that. So the setters actually gave this a 7A+. So after making the initial catch, I had to go for a cross-through move, and it was really hard keeping this foot on and keeping the tension, like so. So I had to quickly foot swap and bump that right foot up, and in these crimps I'm on now, this is when I was trying hard and my fingertips were hurting a lot. So I actually got really confused on this last section on where to put my feet. On reflection, I should have foot swapped and flagged my left foot out. I didn't want to give it another attempt because I didn't want to burn myself out, but I did flash it when it first got set. Okay, now onto a really cool climb. I'm not sure what sort of style this is. If someone knows, please comment below. So the crux is actually this small little crimp. You have to sort of finger swap on it while trying to keep your balance on the wall. So my favourite move was actually the final move. There's a hidden little foothold which I don't use and I just hang on for dear life, but it's pretty chill. So the setters gave this a 7A. I think that's pretty fair. The only hard move was the finger swap, but it also had some really cool techie strength moves which kind of made it feel a bit like a slab. So it was at this point here when I was really struggling with the finger swap. So I had a brainwave of throwing my left hand up as I caught the right, which it meant I didn't have to finger swap. Which I'm not going to lie, I was actually low-key proud of myself for navigating that problem. It was at this point here when exhaustion started kicking in and I was getting really pumped because I was having to film each climb 3 times within an hour. Up next was this really fun blue climb. It was also set by the very talented route setter Hannah. So she always has a way of making a climb really techie and really fun. Which brings me on to the start move. So the start had a really awesome karate kick toe hook move, and since reviewing the footage I actually dabbed so hard. So after successfully not dabbing, the next move is a really tricky foot swap, which you're completely blind to. Thanks for that, Hannah. So I had to bump my left hand up the crimps while keeping tension in my left toe, while throwing up for the big sloper. So this next part I really enjoyed because it required a lot of shoulder strength, which is something I really like. So here, I made an absolute fatal error with throwing up for the left first, because I needed to free up my left hand to throw for the final hold. So I had to come back down, throw the right up to the crimp. Once I got a solid right hand, then I could bump my feet up and top it out. Thank you, Hannah, for setting such an awesome route. Oh, and it was graded a 6C+. Next was this red, which is actually more overhanging than it probably looks on the screen. So there's a mixture of mainly slopers and a few crimps. The crux and the funnest move is definitely, once you get on the crimp, is doing a big throw up to the right to a sloper. So the setters gave this a 6C+, which I feel is pretty fair. So my right hand here, I have to match it, and that's probably like the worst hold. So the crimp, the big throw over, really fun, nearly slip, work my feet up. This ending took me quite a while on the first time I did it to figure it out, but the toe hook came in clutch. And oh, we have a smile! I wonder why that is. So this blue climb is the final climb. So the crux and the funnest move is the second move from the start. You start on 2 little crimps with a tiny little foot, and you have to get onto the sloper and dynamically jump across. And yes, I was completely gassed by this point. The setters graded this as a 7A+, which I think is pretty fair because that jump is really difficult. And the next part, those boomerang holds, were not nice at all. The middle one's the nicest, and I was struggling so much, but I got the job done. So with that, it was closing time at the gym. I completed 7 climbs, which I was quite happy with in the hour. I was absolutely spent. I generally felt like I'd been climbing for about a 5-hour session after that, with hardly any rest in between each climbs. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!